This is the Fitzy and Whipper with Kate Ritchie podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, we also have a guest in the studio and he knows a little bit about this state. In fact, he works very hard on a daily basis. Premier Chris Minns, welcome, mate.
Minzy! Nice to see you guys. Thanks for having me.
So much going on. We were trying to work out if you would bring in some mushrooms or tobacco this morning. Hand-picked from Parliament House, or did you go over the road?
Yeah, it's funny. I saw that in the paper yesterday and I thought there's just some enterprising drug dealer that thought, I'm going to hide it in plain sight, the last place anyone will search for it. Maybe there's a cannabis plant in the basement of Parliament or something like that.
Stick it where it's actually too obvious.
No, on a serious note, though, the illegal tobacco wars are pretty out of control down in Melbourne. Are you worried that they're going to be coming up here at all? Minzy, what are you picking up?
Yeah, no, I mean, I am a bit worried about it. I've seen what's happened in Victoria. And, I mean, part of the problem we've got in New South Wales is that US candy stores. Have you seen these US candy stores and tobacco stores and illegal tobacco stores are taking over so many of the high streets in Sydney, in my electorate of Cogra. There's tobacconists that are popping up all over the place, and it does a couple of things. Firstly, it pushes out other businesses like dry cleaners and hot bread stores and other things that we want in vibrant high streets because they can't pay the rent that an illegal tobacconist does. And then it pushes a lot of law-abiding citizens into this black market. So my view is a bit controversial, but I think that the excise that the federal government has put on is actually driving people to cheaper cigarettes, cheaper alternatives, and despite, I think, laudable efforts and everybody's best intentions, it's not working.
It's backfired. Can I ask, you look at the township of Nowra, and I think in the main street now there's 14 tobacco stores, so competition is high. How does someone, because there's so many of them, it feels like anybody could do it. So how is there not an undercover team, and there might be, wandering into these tobacco stores saying, hey, can I get a bit of your rough cut leaf? And then going, got you, come with me, shut down. Next one, got you, come with me, shut down. Like, how do they happen? Is it one group running one town, or?
Well, when I've got to go back a little bit, and they're absolutely fair questions because it's not as if it takes place on street corners. They put a sign out the front of the shop.
It's obvious.
So I accept that. When we started, we had 7 investigators who were responsible for it from the health department.
Right.
They were the people who were tasked with closing down a multi-billion-dollar, perhaps, crime network. Yeah. And we doubled that, and then we doubled it again, and we got to 60 inspectors. But it's so lucrative, and the money that's to be made is so much. I mean, I'll give you an example. The excise on a packet of cigarettes in 2019 was $16. Yeah. Today it's $28 for a pack of 20 cigarettes. Yep. So. And this is the other interesting thing. The federal government used to collect $16 billion. Now they collect $9 billion. Yeah, so it's the only tax in the world where we've doubled the tax and the revenue's halved. Yeah. And it's all going into this. This is a roundabout way of me answering your question. It's gone into this black market. So, yes, we've got inspectors out there. We've massively increased the fines. We've started a regulation process where you have to have a license to sell cigarettes. You never used to have that in New South Wales.
Are they easy to get?
But, no, you've got to apply for it, and it's a government program. But the problem is... it's a bit like someone standing on a beach trying to stop the waves. Like, I'm not confident that I want to keep those regulation and that law enforcement in place. But am I going to do that in the process of having this massive federal excise at the same time? I don't think we should drop it to zero, but can we have a bit of both? Yeah. A lot more enforcement, tougher penalties, and some common sense on the excise.
Meet in the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
We have a boring machine here, Minzy. It's Tom, our producer. But you've also got a boring machine as well, which is boring a huge hole underneath the city of Sydney. We need an update on the Warringah Freeway upgrade and the Western Harbour Tunnel. How far away are we looking? I mean, we are so excited to get it, but has it been set back a little bit? When are we looking?
I mean, this question is specifically from Rebel Wilson, who doesn's want to have to catch a helicopter again just to get to work.
Thank you.
Come on, think of Rebel.
Yeah. She's still in Australia, or is she?
Yeah, she's got a place at Birchgrove, I know. I think she was at Birchgrove, which is where the tunnel is.
With a helipad. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Good question. I don't know where it's up to, actually.
Can we sign off? Can we sign off that when it opens, we'll have a motorised esky race?
Yes.
As an opening?
Yeah, we can lock that in today.
That would be
yes,
great to do.
Absolutely.
Thank you, mate. Why don't we talk about the commitment that's happening between you and Queensland here for Game 2 of State of Origin? Now, a tourism campaign is on the line. That is a huge commitment. I mean, we're one up at this stage. Game 2 next Wednesday night. What would it look like for you, Minzy? How do you handle it if we weren't to win the Origin series? Do you have to come out and say, hey, Queensland, the best state in Australia?
Yeah,
I think I'd tackle you before the words came out of your mouth.
That's the bet. I mean, and the Queensland Premier took the bet 1-0 down in a 3-game season. So that's the kind of arrogance of the Queensland that you would expect from a typical Queenslander. Of course. The hubris to take on a bet 1 down. So the winner... The loser has to record a tourism ad for the winner.
Yeah.
And my ad, I guess I'd say the best thing about Queensland is that it's next to New South Wales, and
this is good.
There's no beaches, there's no surf above Noosa, so be careful. Lots of crocodiles, and you've got to drink 4X.
Terrible news.
So they would regard that as a good advertising campaign, but the rest of the world would say, "What's going on?" Why?
Chris
That's
means,
a good angle, Minzy.
Thank you. It didn't have to be a good tourism ad; it just has to be a tourism ad.
I want to pull the curtain aside for a second. Off air, a question was asked of you by Whipper, our friend, yours and mine, and then we were on air and it was never answered. And I just don't want to die knowing your answer to the question, how's the body? Which is what Whipper asked you just before we went to air. And I just got to say, Chris Minns, how's the body?
It was in reference to the fact that we're the same age, Minzy.
It doesn't matter.
Well, how is the body holding
It was
up?
around.
I was explaining that I'd taken up Pilates because there was a few sores and stiffness.
And I said, I'm not that desperate. I'm not going to take up Pilates.
Yeah, well, my next question, what would you like to join me at Peaches for a midday class at bar?
It's probably standard 45-year-old.
Yeah.
Prove it. Take your top off. Prove it.
I'm not in the ground yet.
Any sore bits? Do you have to put ointment on anything? Or, how's that going?
No, not really.
Okay.
No.
Good on ya.
So what are you? You're 2.5 years into your term now?
I grazed my leg the other day. And
what was that from, mate?
I was on a bike and I fell over.
Yeah,
and I got
lime scooters.
And I got
crazy.
And in order to put this is going to sound a bit strange, but in order to put Band-Aids on it, and I shaved it down a bit. So I had one
really
shave
cute.
your legs.
one shaved leg and one haired leg.
Well,
Yeah.
you're half
And then
ready for next year's Mardi Gras, which is good news.
And I had to make a decision because I'd come down and then I've got 3 boys and they just wouldn't shut up about it every morning. What is going on with those legs? And just make a decision, all off or one off, or don't worry about it. So I left it like that for a while, but it infuriated everybody. So it's not a pretty sight. The body's not a pretty sight.
All right. You and I, similar bodies, similar fitness, similar guts.
Well, we know how busy you are, Premier. We appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming in this morning, buddy.
No worries. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Fits in Whipper with Kate Ritchie is a Nova podcast. For more great shows like this, download the Nova Player via the App Store or Google Play.
The Nova Player.